there's no story of fame in the music business that started with, well, I was sitting on my couch watching Netflix. Somebody knocked on my door and said, "You want to be famous?" No, it's the
Here's a
grind.
record deal.
Yeah, you got to play the shows.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to take that home. And he's like, well, if you can come over here, grab it and haul it, it's yours. I'm like, deal. So Rick from Res, we pull up to my work at 5:30 in the afternoon, 6 o'clock after like a lot of the people are gone. And dude, if I was somebody trying to rob that place, they would have never seen me coming because I went to that room where the cart was at. I grabbed the cart. I hauled it out the door because the wheels aren't kind of functioning very well. Hauled it out the door. And by the time we got to the truck, nobody didn't even see me go into that place and grab it. So I brought it home. I cleaned it, sanded it down, and painted white and black.
Nice.
And now it's my guitar station, my workbench, and there's a bunch of drawers. I store all my strings, all my, everything that I need to do guitar work that I can do myself, because the guitar work that I can't do myself, I go and I see you.
Yeah, for sure.
So earlier I went to see you. I dropped the guitar off. You were trying to fix an acoustic guitar. And I don't know if, I guess fix is the right word, or just kind of make it look pretty again, because the wood chipped where the bracing is right in the middle. Just had some bad luck with some crazy weather, as if you don't live in South Texas. That's how it is. One time is pouring rain, and then it could be, 4 hours later, 2 hours later, and it's 100 degrees outside. You would never know that it rained because the rain already evaporated by the time.
Yeah. What's crazy is there was a guy that came in probably about an hour before you did. He brought in a Takamine guitar, and it's a real nice one. He'd lived in Pittsburgh, I think, Austin, Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem, and he had this guitar with him the whole time.
Wow.
He comes back to Corpus, and he's been here about 6 months, and then something's wrong with it. Because he lives in an apartment where he leaves the door open, and he's just like, man, it's been everywhere else, but you live by the bay and you pay that salt tax, is what they call it.
Absolutely. And it does worry me because, again, we live right by the water, and there's a lot of bars, man, that have these patios, and we go outside and we play. We take expensive equipment and we go out and we play, and you don't really notice. It's like a slow death. It will creep up on you, and all of a sudden your stuff is all rusted and corroded.
Yeah.
But dude, like I told you earlier today, like when I started doing this, because originally I started my channel to do covers and post them and do like product reviews, and I still haven't done the Quad Cortex review and the CQ12 review that I want to do, and I will do. But it kind of clicked that I could use this as a way to talk to people that are interesting and that have something to add. And really, you're like one of the very first people that shot in my mind, dude, because you have been in the scene here in South Texas for so long, but you're not just a musician. You write music, but you fix all kinds of musical instruments. You write screenplays. You're also into movies. You're really in depth in the culture here in Corpus. So I just want to say thanks for doing this. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
you. And I proudly wear the badge of being your very first customer.
That's right. I was going to mention that. I worked for Sound Vibes, and in between finding my way, I opened up my first shop, and you were my very first customer. How old were you when you first went in there? 14?
Nah, not that young.
Oh, okay.
Probably, man, like either my late teens, or I might have been 20 or 21, but not much older than that.
Oh, okay.
Not much older than that. I want to say I was probably 19 years old because
19.
Because that was kind of around the time where I really joined like my first serious band, and it's with guys that are around here in the scene. Still, one of them used to be the percussionist for the Cumbia Kings, Raul Delgado.
I know Ronnie. Yeah. So was it? They call him Spoons.
I'm gonna have to ask him that, but Yeah, it was Ronnie, which was bizarre, right? Because here's Ronnie, this guy that's been playing with the Cumbia Kings and doing all these crazy shows in Mexico and on the border. Here I am, a 19 whatever 20-year old with no experience whatsoever about being in a band, not knowing anything how a band works, never recorded in my life, none of that. And I just kind of jumped right in those guys, right in with those guys. And then I jumped in with this cousin Jeremy that was singing vocals, and then we found a guitarist and a bassist, and that was our band, man. And we played the open mic at the House of Rock. That was my very first show that was ever on stage. Nervous as shit. Played there. We were like a metalcore band, singing and screaming, kind of like in when Atreyu kind of came out around that era. You know, it's kind of similar to that. We had a guy that played lead guitar, and at the time I was a wannabe lead guitarist. I didn't have the skills really to play lead guitar, but I was just creative. I guess that's how I contributed to the band, because all those guys were so much more experienced than I was, which was crazy.
The guitar you brought me that first time, was it a BC Rich?
There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
It was a red BC Rich, because I figured I'm fucking playing metal. Let me get a guitar that looks metal. And it did. It was a red BC Rich. But the problem is I bought it from a pawn shop, and whoever had it before, I don't know if they were playing like this and they maybe tried to bend it or something, and they broke it at the neck, kind of like around the second, maybe third fret, something like that. And I took it to you. You just kind of looked at it like, bro, I don't know if I can fix this. But I will give this a go. And, to your credit, you did what you did. You fixed it. But, breaking a guitar like that, it's not like an easy fix. And even if you do fix it, it's not going to be something that's going to be like really reliable, right? So I had that guitar until my girlfriend at the time ended up buying me this white Ibanez that I have right here. And I've had it ever since. But yeah, it was that BC Rich, man. And ever since then, because I had been going to, I think at the time you were working at Guitar Center, and you had your little shop there. You were working for Guitar Center, but everybody's like, I'm going to see Jimmy. I'm not going to Guitar Center. I'm just going to see Jimmy. And that was always what everybody said, And when I heard you were there, I started taking my guitar there, but you weren't there. And I'm like, man, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, I feel like they're doing the guitar work. They're fixing my guitar, but it's just not the same. So I found your shop, and I went over there, and it was right across from Bone Shakers. Yeah, Bone Shakers. Yep.
Yeah. And Silverado Barbecue too.
Silverado Barbecue. Yep. And the rest is history. Here I am, 18 years later, still bringing my shit to you.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that brings me their guitar.
Yeah, man. So how did you get started on that? Like, when did you figure it out? Like, you know what? Let me just learn how to fix guitars, or was that even a thought? Like, how did that even start?
Well, growing up, I was always my stepdad. I was always fiddling with stereo equipment. Back in the day, we used to have components, reel to reels, then VCRs. I was always tinkering with stuff. In the early days of the Really Rottens, I started buying guitars from pawn shops, and they didn't work. I would start trying to tinker with them and make them work, ordering parts. Cut to, we'll skip past the Really Rotten stuff. I moved back to Corpus from Kingsville, and my job, besides mowing lawns with my dad, I took a job at Sound Vibrations. And that was 2002. I had lived in Corpus for a long time before that, but I moved back. I came into Corpus, started working at Sound Vibes, and they serviced everything that they sold. Well, I just fell in love with it. I wasn't any good at it at first, just like everybody else, but
just like me.
I really enjoyed it. There was a technician in the back, Willie Mellon, and I would get insight from him on circuits, on dip switches, on how things worked. And it was just fascinating to me. You got to remember that in the guitar repair business, you're dealing with electricity or current or capacitors, resistors, circuitry. You're dealing with metal. You're dealing with wood. You're dealing with plastic. I mean, just everything. In one guitar, you have everything. There's drilling, routing, hammering, screwing down. I mean, it's just like everything. But, you know, it was just fascinating to me. And of course, I have toolboxes full of tools, and I love doing it. I especially love taking something that isn't working or could be better and making it good for somebody to go and continue their dream. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
play. And, it's especially awesome when I get it right.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, you've been doing it for a while, man. So usually knock it out of the park first try for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
you
Yeah.
started doing that, but then like, how did you started playing music? You say was your stepdad like into bands and stuff like that as well?
He was the one that kind of got me into playing guitar. I was always into music. I grew up summers and some weekends in Alice, Texas. That's where I was born. And my uncle was in a very well-known Tejano band. They were called Los Fabulosos Cuatro, and they backed up a lot of the heavies back in, the 60s and the 70s, all until he passed away. But I always loved it. I loved the being on stage. I love the production aspect of it. And then when my stepdad came along, he owned a guitar, and that was pretty much what solidified it. I could do this and be like the way I saw my uncle, at the dances and the concerts and stuff like that. So I had been into recording studios already with him. I'd seen the banter between band. I just loved everything that being in a band and playing music and being in the scene was about. So yeah, I would say that was around when I got my first guitar from him, probably about 9 or 10, and then the
Mm-hmm.
first guitar was a Memphis Les Paul from the Music Man in Kingsville, Texas. It was $99. And
Oh
then,
wow.
yeah, next was a Flying V. It was a Mako from the J.C. Penney catalog. There's been hundreds after that.
The JC Penney catalog. That's awesome. That's awesome. Dude, I don't want to throw you under the fire, but so what year was that when you first had your guitar? Only like when you're 19 years old. When was that?
Well, I was born in 72, so it was 1980, 81.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you said, your uncle played Donald, but for those that don't know, Jimmy is like in a like punk, I guess punk is the best I can describe it. Like but punk to the core, like rock
yeah,
band.
yeah.
So how did you get those influences? Because like I said, your uncle was the Tejano guy. So how did you discover your own sound?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, first of all, there was Tejano. My dad and my uncle, listen to Spanish music. That's what I grew up on. Then, well, my mom, she was a young mom, and she was still listening to top 40 as I was younger. A lot of Motown, a lot of Hall and Oates, a lot of, we went through the ages, right? With my mom, it was my mom's music first, Kiss, Gloria Gaynor. I mean, just the whole thing, right? Whatever was on the radio. My stepdad comes along and he liked the Beatles and he liked Quicksilver Messenger
Mm.
Service and he liked Eric Clapton and Brownsville Station. So there that was. And I still have it downstairs. But when I met him, he gave me Nevermind the Bollocks from Sex Pistols and Rocket to Russia from Ramones. And I still have the albums. They're framed in my dining room, and Rock and Roll High School too, and just everything. That whole influence came about. I moved to Corpus Christi I actually ran away from home and when I was in the ninth grade to pursue this rock and roll life. And punk was not my first choice. Back in the early 90s, I was in a band called Dead Man's Hand, and we were like cock rock, like Guns N' Roses, Sleaze,
Okay.
the whole debaucherous life. And we were not
And
only in
what
a
were you
band.
doing? Were you playing guitar or singing?
I was just a lead singer. I was just a lead singer. I'll send you a sound bite so you can edit it in and people can laugh. But
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, man, we played around a lot. We lived that whole lifestyle. We were young, dumb, and the other stuff, but
Yeah.
so getting back to the Really Rottens, first it was the Love Handles and then the Really Rottens, but the punk, when I got tired of Corpus and the people that I was hanging around, because it got really, really crazy. And I wasn't a drug user. I rarely drank. I don't even remember drinking around that time. I just really loved being in the scene. I decided to retreat back to Alice and live out in the country with my
Hmm.
cousins. Uh, and being there,
And that was around what age?
oh, that was like 94, 95. So I would have been about 22 years old, 21, 22 years old.
Heyday of grunge.
Yeah, right, right. I start going to college at Texas A&I. It was A&I back then in Kingsville. That's what my cousins were doing. That's what I had to do in order to live there. And I needed a change, right? Because I was living like I said, no drugs or alcohol, but I was just seeing stuff that somebody at that age didn't need to see, right? I needed something
Yeah.
else. So I go and I meet some people from Robstown, Texas, and I start getting really close with them. And since then, my buddy Jaime Alvarado, he's passed away, but he was the sweetest dude in the world. And he's like, "Hey, come to Robstown." I go to Robstown and they have these parties and they're just listening to some of the best music I've ever heard. Social Distortion, Pinhead Gunpowder, Green Day, Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics, which I had already heard before, but it was just shown to me in a different light. And it just spoke to me. It was it was rock and roll. It was anything you wanted to be. That's why I call my music punk, is because I feel like that's the label with no label, right?
Mm.
So that's the origin of when I decided to be punk.
Okay. So then you just took all those influences and then you started the Really Rottens kind of like around that time?
Yeah, at first the Love Handles, what we were. Okay, so I was in college. My cousin was a drummer. My other cousin, Johnny, was a guitar player. I played bass. We started learning cover tunes from all these bands that we were discovering: Social Distortion, Rancid, Ramones, Unwritten Law, Blink 182 at that time. And we were
Unwritten
playing.
Law. Wow. Yeah.
We were playing this place called Armstrong's in Kingsville. It was the local college bar. And we started playing around, started playing Corpus, started playing ranch parties. That was the real fun right there. I wanted to do more original stuff. Wasn't ever really a cover kind of person. I was a writer. I outgrew Alice, Texas, moved back to Kingsville and started the Really Rottens. And that was probably like 96. And we were a
So
band for,
not too far after you decided to kind of regroup yourself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I really needed to. I think it was a calling of sorts, because cock rock was dying, grunge was taking over. It was not my scene. Everybody was
Mm.
younger. I don't know. It was just different. I had a lot of friends that were in those bands, and plus, one thing I left out. The other thing is I ran a bar. It was called EJ's back in the day. It used to be on Castoris and Holly. Then it
Hmm.
turned to Backdrafts. Man, I was just in it. Even though I wasn't doing it, I was seeing it, and it was just like,
Sure.
oh man. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that can be
really what
rough,
I
man.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, not what I had in mind. So I went back to where it was quiet, and you know,
Did that twist you a little? Did that twist your vision a little of what it's like to be like a rock star, quote unquote?
As far as what?
As far as like
Uh,
what you expected versus what you saw.
yeah, I would say so. I would say so. It was fast. I wasn't really fast back then. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't into drugs. I wasn't into let's go get messed up, and all that. I
Yeah.
really just wanted to play music. And I think that's what made me put the brakes. And then, starting a band with my cousins, it was safe. It was, I mean, I don't know. I've just had really good luck with band members for a long time. I mean, they haven't all stuck around, but I
Yeah.
like to stay friends and I like to play with people. The music is one thing, but somebody that you feel safe with, because you got to travel with these people. They come to
Right.
your house. So
Know your
it's
family.
yeah, exactly. So that's very important to me these days too.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I think I've been very fortunate too, man. Rez, we've been the same people since, and then every now and then we'll start a random one-off project together. Like Rick and I probably been like 3 bands since Rez together, and then with the guys from Seattle Rising back in the day, it was called Apex.
Right, right.
With Damon, and then with Aaron and Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Still friends with Aaron, still friends with Damon. Unfortunately, Paul, unfortunately, Paul just passed away way before his time, way before
I
his
know.
time.
Such a good guy, man. Such a good guy.
I know. I have a guitar that I got from him. That's one of those. I told you when my wife says you have to sell a guitar to get a guitar. That's a guitar that I'm never going to get rid of. That's a guitar I got from him. So it's just going to stay here. And then with Rez, we got unlucky too. Mike Garcia, our bassist, Michael he passed away during COVID.
I remember.
Yeah, he passed away from COVID, complications from COVID. So, but other than that, man, everybody that's come in, we've always had such a good time. You and I shared bandmates before, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
And Derek was great in Seattle Rising, and then we have again, Rick follows me everywhere. Rick ends up playing bass for Seattle Rising now, and then on the other side, I play with the guys from 8-Bit, which is Damon's '80s project, and that's RJ and Joseph Martinez. Which is also singer from 18 Hours. And I will mostly, when Joseph can't play, I will cover for him. And then Joseph Newman was Seattle Rising playing drums for us. So I've been very lucky, man. And then, the beginning days when I was playing with Ronnie and his cousins, like I don't really see that as like, yeah, they were my bandmates, but like that wasn't a time where I wasn't ready yet. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah.
I just, it was like, it was a period for me that I was in a band, but it was like, I was still kind of discovering what I wanted to do, what I wanted to play. People from high school, like going to somebody's house because he knows you like guitar, that he likes guitar, and y'all just get together just to fuck around on the guitar, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but playing a House of Rock got me my start. That's how I met Adrian. I was playing actually a open mic with Ronnie, and Adrian was on stage playing his acoustic, just him by himself, and that's how I got together with him, and that's how Rez started. Because he already met Rick and Philip Hand, and at the time was Tom Rosales. He was playing bass for us, and they already had been practicing for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I called him. Like, hey man, you want to start a band? Those calls. And he's like, and then he's like, well, I would, but I'm jamming with these guys. I have to ask if you can come over. I was like, okay, well, let them know. And at that time, I kind of had a falling out with those guys from that band was called 9 Days to Monday with Ronnie and them. Kind of had a falling out with them, and I quit the band. So I was just kind of looking for something to do because just like you, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to get on stage. Once you get up there and you play, unless you've done it yourself, you don't understand like the high you get from like being up there. And the moment you get off, you're just looking for the very next show. Like you're just looking for the next time to get back on stage. Right. Because it's just so addicting, And then Adrian called me back. He's like, hey, we already have a guitar player, but he said you can come over and we can give it a try, and see how he works with 2 guitar players. And that guitar player was Rick. So,
nice.
So it all worked out in the end, man.
Very cool.
It all worked out in the end. But dude, you've been like so involved with the community, but you also have like, before I get to that, you also have other projects. Like I said in the beginning, like you do screenplays and you write stuff. Now, can you talk a little bit more about that? I know you might not be able to give a lot of details for something that's ongoing, but how did you like, first of all, how did you even like stumble into that particular world? Because it is adjacent to music, but it is very different.
Yeah. So, um, I've always loved movies. I'm a movie buff. I actually watch 100% more movies than I actually listen to music, especially when I'm working. I can't listen to music.
Wow.
It's an ADD thing. I don't really listen to music like most people do when they're doing stuff. Anyway, so I love watching old shows. I watch a lot of YouTube channels. I like learning stuff while I work. Music just doesn't do that for me. I do listen to music, but it's very it's something else. I need it for something else, just usually relaxing. But anyway, so in the early days of the Really Rottens, actually it was the Love Handles. We a buddy of mine from Alice, Texas, his name is Gilbert Aguirre. He had his dream, and it was to be a director, and he went to San Francisco, and it was big, right? Because here we are, everybody's dreaming something, getting out of high school. Well, he takes off to San Francisco. He was actually friends with my cousin because I didn't go to school in Alice. He's from Alice, Texas. He was friends with my cousin, and he was an acquaintance of mine. Well, for when he was in San Francisco, he needed a project. He says, "Hey, I'm coming back to Texas. I need to film a music video." And I lived in a house that he owned with some other college students. Actually, with my cousin Johnny, who was the guitar player of the Love Handles. So I wrote a song. It was called 935 Lantana, which was the address where we lived at. And he's like, "Go record it. I'll be down, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever." So we walked into a studio. It was Chris Cunningham's studio, Seven Sign Studios. We did 935 Lantana. He came down. We shot a video. When he came down and I saw what was going on, and we did this was not a big production at all. We went and we bought 8mm cameras. We went and bought the VCR video cameras with the VCRs on a thing. I mean, just we wanted like this character. There was lighting involved. It was like late days. I mean, it was really cool because he wanted to act like he was in Hollywood, right? And in turn, they say how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So in turn, I loved it. I was like, I love this life. So come around to his second project. He says, "Hey, I'm coming back down. Write a movie, and we're gonna film it in out." Yeah,
he just said it like that. "Hey, write me the fucking movie. I'll be there to shoot it."
Yeah. So I start writing a script, and he comes down from California, and we're relentlessly writing this movie in his mom's office at his house. I think it was like Windows 3.1, and I still have the floppy disk with the script on it. But wrote out a script. We had a friend in Alice. We still have a friend, David Alvarado. He was a stunt man, and he worked on movies and TV shows. So we shot a movie. Oh, and my buddy from Kingsville, Mike Lutz, who is now in the Marvel universe and worked on movies. He lives in California now. All these guys were just willing to be a part of something. So we did this movie in Alice, Texas, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Do you still have that movie?
I do. I've asked Gilbert there. We used a placeholder song of a Selena song on this one part. There's no music in any of it yet, but I asked him to take it out. He has not done it yet, but I really want to put it up. It's really cool for a really low budget small town movie. We did some really spectacular things back in, that was like 1996 or 7.
Was it ever put out at the time that it was shot or no?
No, he used it for school. He used that. he used
Gotcha.
that for school. And then, okay, going back to the
Well,
movie
did he
thing,
pass the class?
well, I'm sure he did. He graduated. And then there's of course the masturbation video that we did, but we shot some of it in Alice and we shot the rest in San Francisco. That's
Oh, okay.
the really rotten song, Masturbation.
Huh?
Um, so that's how I got into that. So I know I went into a tangent, but
No, no, that's fine.
every idea Gilbert wanted, we were always writing together. We were always coming up, and so we did. He worked with Q Productions, and I helped on a couple of music videos. We've written, I mean, just TV shows. We just did something a couple of years ago with Nora Canales, which is Johnny Canales's, widow. She had a show called I can't remember what it was called. It was somewhere anyway. So that's how I got
Hmm.
into that.
But you
Cut
just
to
like, because he just said, write me a movie. But like, how did you even know what to write or how to write?
okay. So I went to Half Price Books and I bought every book on screenwriting. Yeah,
That's
and
awesome, dude.
yeah, and he was doing really big things. I always kind of leaned more towards the music, and he was really good at what he did. The early 2000s were great for him, and they were great for the Really Rottens too. He worked with Dusty, and he worked with La Conquista,
Nice.
and he worked with a lot of rap
Yeah.
artists, and a great visionary. Loved to, I loved to write, and I still love to write. I love to create. I do get in my own way a lot. I have a lot of half finished products.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, half finished projects, but I did find one that I'm sticking with, and that's what I'm doing right now, and it's called Dockside. And
That the one you told me about? That's like a callback to a movie that was shot in Corpus, kind of.
yes, yes, and I
Got
can
it.
can I talk a little bit about the premise of it?
Dude, go for it.
Okay, so Dockside, what it is, it's like a David and Goliath story. It's a coming of age story of sorts too. The premise of the show is you've got a young female Marina patrol cop, right? And she's kind of just tired of living her little mundane life on the marina, and her whole world is about to open up because there's a murder on the marina. She's not necessarily a detective, but she decides that this is something that she needs to pursue because it's you know it was thrown in her lap. So it deals with the bureaucracy of the politicians wanting to like gentrify something that has been, our playground for a lot of times without any care of the little people, and then it's like uh, the little people kind of opening up, educating themselves to fight back within this whole story, but the murder is the pinnacle of it all. You know, she's 28 years old. Her friends are in the same age group. They're just going about their regular old 28-year-old lives. And they just figure like if they don't do anything, everything's going to be taken away from people that don't even care about them. So that's it in a nutshell.
Any updates on where to go? I mean, you got it written. So what now?
So it's close to being finished, the pilot, but I am about to put out a teaser trailer here pretty soon. It's almost done. It's filmed, but it's still in the editing process. So I'm about to put out a little teaser trailer. The teaser trailer will be some for people for it to gain a little interest and to try and get some funding because we really want to make it episodic.
So for this particular teaser, there's no like actors are gonna be on the show, right? It's just like a little like some
There
shots of the marina or some narration.
There is narration, there are shots of the marina, and there is an actress in there. She will not be in there. It's just like a placeholder just to give it some
Hmm.
depth. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'll probably be releasing it here in the next week.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm
So I
really
guess
excited about it.
just depending, I guess, on the funding and all of that, that will kind of dictate what kind of crew you're gonna get, what kind of actors and all that.
Yeah, I'm really confident about that. At first, I was like in writing and talking with the production company that I'm talking with. You start dreaming and you can already see it done, and you're feeling it, right? And everybody's like, "I have a this, and we can do that, and I know this guy," and you're just like, "Oh man, my freaking dream is coming true." And then, they when it comes down to now, we need to raise the money. Yeah,
Mm,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel very confident. I'm working with Dreamforge Media Group out of San Antonio. Patrick, uh, you know, he's working on a lot of projects. He gets funding for all his projects. He's assured me it's going to get done. So I'm really excited.
That's cool, man. And he just kind of met him through like the connections you've made along the way.
Yeah. So my cousin Addison Smithwick was working with somebody, and they said, "Oh, I'm renting a truck to this guy who makes movies." And my cousin's like, "Well, my cousin makes movies or writes movies. They should
Mm.
meet." We met, found out he's originally from San Diego, which is,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
adjacent to Alice. Yeah, that's where my
yeah.
family's from. And called him up, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm kicking this thing off. I need new projects." And man,
Cool.
one of the things about Patrick and about people like Patrick that are serious about doing what they do is well, not just serious, but just a different work ethic. Is I've had 100 different projects, but he really does check in and make me feel like we're moving towards something, and I really appreciate that.
That's good because sometimes you get like the good old no response, right? Or just you see that they read it and the little check mark, but then that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, yeah. I have a joke about I'll say it. I have a joke about Corpus Christi that I say a lot. Is there is this itis that some people have. There's a lot of talented people here, and there's guys with really good ideas, and but more times than none, I've gone up to somebody and I go, "Hey man, I hear you want to play guitar for a band." And they're like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And you're like, "Cool, dude. I have 10 songs. I got a practice room. I got a PA. I got songs on YouTube. I got this and that." And they're like, "Yeah, well, let me know." And I'm like, "Well, what do you think I'm doing?" You know?
Yeah,
So
that let me know. That lets you know everything you need to know.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me know. I'm like, I'm
let me
letting you know.
know. This is me letting you know.
Anyway.
So that brings it nicely to a full circle because we talked about your music, talked about the movie. So you're involved with the music and film symposium that happens here in Corpus, and that's been
Mhm,
the fourth year running now.
mhm.
How did that even happen? How did you get involved with that? Whose idea was it, and where do you see that going?
So I was doing a NEC commercial with Department 13 Films. I was doing the audio production for that. Casey Lane of the House of Rock comes in to do. He was talent that day. I'd known Casey since the Surf Club, 20 plus years, but I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I've been meaning to tell him that I wanted to do something like what the symposium is. I wanted to educate musicians about BMI, cap, CSAC, on how to collect their royalties. I had been using BMI Live. Not a lot of people had known about it. I had already turned on like 3 or 4 people to it. And these are all people that play way more than me. I'm like, dude, you're leaving money on the table. So when he came in, I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Casey, I've had this idea." And he said, "You know what? Matt Martinez was just telling me the same thing. Let's have a meeting." So we had a meeting, and it is what it is now. Fourth year,
Wow, so it's just kind of like
we're
the perfect storm.
perfect storm. Yeah. Just, and just so everybody knows, there are sponsors, but all of this is just to bring awareness to to the musician of every way there is to justify your your hard work. You know, the one thing for Casey is, and every other venue that allows people to play there, is they pay between $4,000 to $10,000 a year just to have a jukebox or bands play there. This is true. There is a licensing fee for you to go play your music. Now, he's not worried about paying that. What he's worried about is that when he pays it, it goes somewhere else if we don't take advantage of logging down our gigs, writing down every original we play, you know, getting those royalties from BMI or ASCAP or CSAC. So I think it's very important for everybody to know that it is money on the table. You know, how much? How much? Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, it depends on you. Yeah. How much you're playing, how much of your original music you're playing, and how many gigs are you logging down?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't play very much, but I log them down, and I know another buddy of ours that you know, started up with it the second year or the first year that we did it. You know, there's quarters where he brings in $400 or $500 a quarter. You know, this is money that it's
Just
just
for playing stuff that he wrote.
he's already, yeah, he's already getting paid. You know, he's already getting paid at the gig. This is just extra money to justify that expensive, you know, fuzz pedal or whatever that your wife doesn't want you to
Sure.
buy.
Yeah. Yeah. or at least for a quarter, that's my Jimmy bank for the year to
Yeah.
take my shit to you for you to fix.
There you go. I'm benefiting from all
you
angles.
benefit from that as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but it's true though. Like, so when you say logging your stuff, because I've been to two of those, and this year I made a priority to take the whole day off of work to attend the whole day, because the whole day is filled with very useful information. Like, every panel is incredibly useful. You know, from the very first one in the morning all the way to the very last one. Like, everything's so useful. And this year we had film attached to it as well. And we got a new film commissioner, so things are kind of starting to look up for that too. But like, when you said log in your gigs, what Jimmy means here, like, if you're playing a show, if you're playing your original music, and that original music is recorded, and there's a way to if you have like the writing rights to it and all of that, if you're not letting them know that you're playing this stuff, it's not, nobody else is going to tell them. So you got to tell them.
That's
and then
right.
you get paid for that. It's stuff that you wrote, that you recorded, that you put out, you know, advertised, you know, paid the fee to get it up, to get it licensed, to get, you know, whatever it is. So all that work that you did until release day, and it gets sent out to Apple Music, Spotify, blah, 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 yada, yada. You know, that's all the hard work. But it doesn't stop there, right? So you want to get rewarded for that work. Yes, you're putting out new music for your fans to listen to, for you to go play at, for you to get booked, right? Because nobody wants to hear the same old shit every time. But for you to get booked and get gigs and potentially national acts and all that stuff, every time you play a show, put your set list in, because every quarter you will get a check for that.
That's right.
And you have to be the one doing it. If you don't do it, nobody else does it.
That's right. And, you know, to tell you the truth, I've spoken to a lot of musicians, and it's so easy, but to some it's just a lot of work. I mean, you know, it is a little tedious. You go in, the venue, the capacity, you know, your set list, boom, you know. And if you've played, well, if you wait long enough and you're looking at 20 gigs that you got to log in, well, yeah, it's going to take you. But man, it's but still, it's those same musicians, and I don't want to create any enemies here, but it's those same musicians that I find are complaining about them not paying enough at a club, or, you know, man, you know, trying to justify everything but doing nothing for themselves. I always tell people, you go into a club, they're giving you two opportunities to make money. One is the stage. Two is where you can set up your merch. If you walk out of there without playing the best freaking show you can and setting up merch, and you don't feel justified, that's your own damn fault.
That's right. And if you're playing in one of those shows where you're there all night, it's not just like a band and it's you. And let's just say you're playing, a bar, you're playing, 60% covers, 40% originals. You can have your tip jar out there. That's another way you can make money. I mean, that's not always guaranteed, but it's just another way you can put it out there. And then guess what? That 40% of that set, you can record that. You can't put that you played halls and notes and you want to get paid for it, but you can put your own song on there, and you will get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, we're in the entertainment business, and people will let you know if they're being entertained. You know what I mean? And
right,
music, fans of music are some of the best fans ever, so.
Yeah. I mean, music is just a universal language, You play a song, it makes you feel something. And if somebody feels the same way you do, you connect, you just gain a fan, Not only gained a fan, but you potentially gained somebody that's going to be, because music is a product, right? You're selling something at the end of the day. You potentially just gained a customer.
That's right.
Somebody that's going to come to your gigs is going to pay the ticket, is going to buy your merch, is going to stream your music. And guess what? They're streaming your music. They found you at a show. They're going to listen to your songs, and that counts for streaming revenue. It's not a lot, but everything in the end adds up,
Yeah, then they share it with a friend or two friends, or listen to it at a barbecue or whatever. So
that's how people get go viral, man. And especially nowadays, like it's really up to you to make it work. Like we've talked about this the first time I took, or maybe the time before I took my guitar to you, of this local band of these guys. They're called Identity Crisis. Those kids are about to blow up, man. I'm telling you, like those guys are about to blow the hell up. Everything they post on Instagram is 3,000, 4,000 likes, 12,000 likes, 20,000 likes, 450,000 views. They recorded with some big names. They're about to go on tour. Like they're doing it, They're putting in the work, and a lot of people don't want to put in the work, But
That's
you have
true.
to put in the work. You have to put in the work. And you have to expect, like, hey, if we're going to put the work in, like, we have to justify it and we have to prepare, right? Because what if that opportunity comes up and you get picked up to go on a tour? Like, are you ready? Are you prepared to leave what you got, 5 weeks of your life, just go away, and come back? Like these are all things that people just don't think about. They want to get in the band. They want to do this. They want to do that, but they really don't prepare themselves for the opportunity. Luckily for those guys, it seems like they are prepared because they're about to go on tour. Maybe they have the support from a parent or something. Maybe they're smart with their financial decisions and they're not buying a bunch of guitars and pedals that they don't need, and they're ready, right? Because if the moment strikes, if the opportunity strikes, you got to be ready, right? Because then you can't complain that you never had the chance.
That's right. Yeah. We, in the Really Rottens, we had a lot of really cool opportunities come our way. And as tight as we were and as much as we gave to the music, there were a couple of times that we were not ready and missed a lot of opportunities. We did a lot of great stuff, but, I don't really like to think of what could have happened. We did some cool stuff, but this is one thing that I tell young artists to, like, a reality check. There's a lot to it. There's no story of fame in the music business that started with, well, I was sitting on my couch watching Netflix. Somebody knocked on my door and said, "You want to be famous?" No, it's the grind.
Here's a record deal.
Yeah. You got to play the shows. Somebody told me the other day, they were having an argument with the band member and they said something like, well, it'd be nice if we could only play the good shows, which means, like, you can't choose. You gotta play all the shows, you got to put in the work.
Absolutely right. Because guess what? If that wasn't for that, I would have never met, Adrian and been in the band and done the many cool shit that we've done with Rez, man. I
Yeah.
mean, all the people
Yeah.
that we played with and opened up and got to do, like it's all stuff that a lot of people, when they go, on a local level, that's what they want to do, and we wanted to do that on a local level and beyond. But sometimes shit just doesn't happen. But at least when the local opportunity came, we were ready. We were there to play.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Corpus with the symposium, maybe with Identity Crisis getting signed, um, with the film, a new film commissioner, new music and film commissioner. I'm hoping that I don't want to sit here and sound like an old guy, right? But there were a couple of times in the decades that I've been a musician here where Corpus was really collaborative, where there was a scene. There's not really a scene right now. There's not. I don't know if it's the generation, uh, or maybe that I'm just home all the time watching TV. But no, I don't feel like. I feel like people are friendly. I know you, I know Damon, we all know all these people, but it's I think there needs to be a scene happening where I think it has turned into commerce. Everything is about the money from both ends, from the guys in the band and the club owners. There was a scene. I remember Jesse Sachs would rent a boat barn. They're not there anymore, but right by Brewster's and Whataburger Field, there were these boat barns there. He would rent one, and build a little stage from plywood, and we'd open up for bands for off of Epitaph Records in there. Just
Mm.
any Millennium Skate Park, just anywhere there was to show your art form, to gather support from the scene. I feel like that's the only thing Corpus is lacking right now, and I feel that is what it's like. That other, it's going to make the gears hitch together, is just doing making a scene again, you know.
And do you think that's a symptom of the way that things are moving, like being more online, where the exposure now is much more by creating online and being online rather than going out there and calling your friends and calling all these bands to go play a show together?
Yes, I do. As much as I love social media, I am a TikToker. I'm on TikTok all the time. I'm I had to get into that whole realm. I do feel like there is a little bit of a disconnect. I mean, I think last year sometime, somebody that I followed on Facebook, when I actually met him in person, I mean, we're Facebook friends, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about this person. I only know the parts that they
Yeah.
want me to know, which is still fine. I'm not, like I said, I'm a social media guy. I back up AI, I back up social media. It's a great tool. But man, sometimes I just feel like, as far as the bands go, there could be just a little bit more of a collaborative scene.
Yeah, because I asked Casey and Matt, hey, what are the bands that are coming up right now? Because Rez is thinking about putting on a show, and we want to get some up and coming local bands. And I remember one time, I think it was like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, where they had mentioned Identity Crisis. I was like, these kids would be good to come up and play a show with you guys. And now we're trying to get a show with them. And it's like, no, we can't.
Yeah. Do you know where they're getting signed to?
I don't. All I know is that they have a team behind them. That's for sure. And they're doing
Nice.
great, man. They recorded an EP, and they recorded a full length album. They put out the first single with a music video that's well produced, well shot, and then they just jumped on a tour. Yeah, man. I'm really happy for those guys, because it will really show what this town has. Because it was you guys, and then there was also like Killamora from the metal scene, and then there was fucking Shattered Sun from the metal scene. There was a Quiet Mind with Steven Vasquez, Scuba Steve, that was coming up kind of like around the same time the Rez was coming up, and then they got to open up for Seven Dust. And then there was Rez in there too. I mean, we got to fucking do the Uproar Rock Festival. We fucking up it up for a bunch of shit. So there is a lot of fucking talent here, man.
Yeah.
In all genres. So now there's Identity Crisis. There's Raul Ayala. There's all kinds of people that are.
Well, I'll tell you something. There's no doubt that there is top-notch talent. The one thing about Corpus is that everybody that I know is talented in their own right, and they come from, there's not a lot of arrogant people. Do you
No.
feel like somebody said a long time ago that being famous, whatever that entails, whatever your definition is, 30% talent and 70% audacity. And,
Mm,
prime example of audacity would be somebody like David Lee Roth. I don't know if anybody watching knows who David Lee Roth is, but, just somebody who is willing to do it all, right? To
yeah.
there's not a lot of audacity in Corpus Christi. There's a lot of talent and skill, but there's not
Yeah.
a lot of audacity. But this is my main point. I think that if there was management, I feel like if there was a booking agent in town, people that you could trust, or somebody to lead the way, people would start feeling better about the way they do business, and somebody else could handle their business. I know a lot of people probably would say, why would I pay somebody 10% or 15% for something I could do? Well, it's so that you can concentrate on doing what you're supposed to be doing. Recently, I took on the task of, let's say, not officially but unofficially managing Nevermind, which is Neverland, Neverland, Metallica tribute band.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And just trying to get them going. Like, you need a picture, you need an EPK, let's call this dude, let's get t-shirts. And it's a lot of work, but you know what, it's work that they don't have to do, that I have time for, and they're putting on killer shows.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just less things, and I have a deal with them. Hey, if I get you shows and we do this much, I get this much, and we do this much. It's so that they can just concentrate on going up there and kicking ass.
That's cool, man. I remember those guys were forming bands. The band names being thrown around, and that's great. I love to see that band going. There's some great people in that fucking band too.
Dude, they're so good. They're so good. They
Not even musically, just great people in general.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All those guys, all those guys. So yeah, I think that could help out Corpus too. Just everybody get in the mindset of, that's part of the collaborative mindset, is knowing that you're going to have a manager, you're going to have a booking agent, you might have a social media team. I mean, you can do all that without, and they can be your friends, just somebody who's not a musician that wants to be in the scene, and you can start learning how to be in the business. You know what I mean? Because everybody who does it for a major band did it for a local band at one time. They just started being really good at it and propelled themselves into that higher echelon,
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite bands, it started like that. It was the guy actually ended up playing a show with one of the bands that I really enjoy, real big band. And then off of that relationship of opening up with them, it's kind of crazy story. He just became their fucking manager, and then they exploded. It's a really nuts story. It's really crazy. But if you got somebody that's willing, and somebody that's willing to move hell and earth and put the hours in,
that's right.
It works. And like you said, it takes the time you would be spending 30 minutes emailing, not 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes like an hour and a half looking for somebody and emailing and calling and this and that. You could be like brushing up on your guitar solos or your drum fills or your vocal exercises or whatever that is,
Yeah. And if some of the clubs had a booking, if there was a booking agent and his job was just to be the mediator between the bands and the club, he could just call you, hey, I need you to be here. Okay. And he could get his 10%. The clubs could go on to clubbing and the bands could go on to being bands, and everything could be taken care. That's the collaborative mindset I'm talking about,
Yeah. And I feel there was a venue in town that was better about that. And I think they kind of shut the door. So a lot of the local stuff, as of late, and then out of nowhere, this other venue opens up and you see a lot of these local, bands starting to play again. And I'll go ahead and name the venue that opened up. I don't want to name the other one, but Fifth and Elm opened up here in Portland, and you just see live music in Portland. it's a thing now. It was never a thing before. I've been living in Portland for I don't know how long. The only time we had live music here was Windfest.
Yeah.
Once a year in
Once
April
a
when it
year,
was
yeah.
windy as shit.
Yeah.
So now we have a venue. We have all of these local bands and some bands from out of town that come in and play. And a lot of these shows are free, and they make their money on the food and just them being out there selling alcohol or whatever. But parents take their kids. The kids are playing. They're eating pizza or burgers or whatever. Parents are drinking music, and all of a sudden you're starting to build a scene. All of a sudden you're starting to build what's the word I'm looking for? A routine of attending shows.
Yep.
And you might come across a band that you didn't think of, but you just showed up and it's like, oh, there's live music. And all of a sudden you watch a band, you become a fan. It's that culture that Portland didn't have before, that it's now become a thing. It's only been open for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, if that.
Yeah.
And it's already become part of the
beautiful.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already been part of the culture, man.
Right, because all those people had to cross the bridge to get all that, and now it's in their
Correct.
backyard, and isn't it
and
like
now you
free
get
to get in?
Yeah, a lot of their shows are free to get in unless it's like a country artist that's kind of either already an established name or whatever. But the capacity there is, I don't quite remember what the capacity is right now, but off the top of my head, it's kind of like close to small stage at Concrete. About half of that. It's like half of the small stage of Concrete, which is a lot of fucking people for Portland.
I think the small stage is I think it's a 3,000 capacity at Concrete.
Okay, so it's really close to that from what I've heard. Like if they were to clear tables and stuff like that and really get a big name artist, they could do 3,000 people there. Like close to it, more or less, is what I heard. So yeah, the stage is here, the plan is here, the culture is growing. I think there's a lot of growing pains, because now they're in a part of town that was a really quiet part of town. All of a sudden there's a concert venue and it's outside, and people complain about the noise levels, and they have a hard 11 o'clock stop. And you have to be out there with a decibel level measuring, make sure it doesn't get over 120 decibels, I don't think the city was really prepared for that either, to be quite honest. I thought the city of Portland thought there's like, oh yeah, they're just going to play music and it's going to be fine and blah, 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 blah. They didn't really think about how the sound carries and, how late they're going to be playing there. You can't have a show and have the show be done at 9 o'clock. It's just not, it's not how it works. 11 o'clock is going to be the stop time. But now, Seattle Rising just got the gig there. We're going to play there March 21st. And our stop time is 10:40. Yeah, our stop time is 10:45. Which is acceptable.
Yeah.
10:45. Yeah, it's good.
I've been noticing too, like even downtown, a lot of the shows, after COVID, I have not even been in a place that is open till 2 o'clock. I think the place I'm playing tomorrow, I'm playing in the Valley tomorrow. I don't know when this will air, but it'll be March 6th tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'll be playing at the Flying Walrus, and I saw the lineup of the bands, and I said, man, there's a lot of bands. And they're like, oh, yeah, they're open till 2. And I was like, man, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Actually, like downtown Corpus, like around Rockets and all that, a lot of those bars will stay open till 2 o'clock.
And the bands play till 2?
The bands will play till like 1:30.
Okay.
Yeah, 1:30. I think they give about 30 minutes for, people to start closing their tabs and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's all about building that culture, man. I think what we can take away from everything we talked about is culture and habit. It's the habit of going to see live music. It's the habit of going and playing live music, getting the habit of registering your stuff, getting the habit of just doing the things that really benefit you as a musician or as a filmmaker, as a screenwriter that people just don't do.
Yeah.
Just start doing it.
Start doing it. Yeah, like we were talking about earlier. You're right. I am, been long.
Yeah, Jimmy, start your fucking podcast, dude.
I'm announcing it here so that I'll be held accountable Rock and Roll Therapy. It's coming out soon. I have all the stuff in the tote ready to be set up, and I'll have you on, and we'll have a different conversation. But yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. That's funny how we brought that up at the same time.
For sure, for sure.
Dude, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, dude.
This is literally the conversations that we have when I pull up to your shop. I'm there to drop off a guitar, and an hour and a half later, I walk out of there.
I know. Same. You know what? You need to have Adam Stern on here. Do you know Adam Stern from Dreams and Voodoo Logic?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Same. Yeah. He's like, hey Jim, I'm gonna stop by real quick. Yeah. 2 hours later, we've solved all the world's musical problems. He's
and you're a genius. Just nobody knows about it yet.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you having me, dude. And
yeah, bro.
Now our conversation is on the internet forever. And I'd love to have you on my podcast once I take everything out of totes and just
take all the plastic off of it.
Yeah, just one thing if I can. The Love Bombers. Yeah. We've got a single we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Fighting with Ghosts. We got 3 new tunes coming out really soon.
Great song, by the way.
Thank you. Look us up, like, share, tag, and maybe we'll see you out there.
Yeah, man. Plans for the symposium already on the roll for the next year?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I talked to Casey, and he wants to start having some meetings soon. He won't, I don't know if I'm talking outside of school, but I think we want a bigger venue and figure out how to.
Okay.
So I'll tell you this real quick. We are a music-friendly city, something that we worked on through the symposium with the state of Texas. And there are other cities that have become in the Coastal Bend, because remember, it's the Coastal Bend Music Symposium,
yes,
that have become music-friendly cities too, or that want to. So I don't know, maybe there's talks of us hosting all those cities and their representatives and bringing all of them to Corpus. That would be rad.
Awesome. That would be... Yeah. That would be huge, man, because the networking just goes, the networking value just goes through the roof there.
Right. I mean, there are people that come from other cities to the symposium, but I just feel like if we got the backing from their city council or their mayor or they just, pumped it out, it would really help people learn everything. We have professionals of every magnitude, from, music syncing, to graphic design, to marketing, you've been to them.
Yeah.
They're just everything that they're saying is everything you need to know,
Yeah.
Everybody.
Truly.
Yeah. And you can ask them the questions right there on the panel. I think
they're right there.
Think it's great. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to Jimmy's Everything. Follow him. Follow Love Bombers. And if you're in town, man, if you are local, please make plans to attend the symposium next year. It's very important. It's very good stuff. Even if you've been in the game for 20 years or if you're just thinking about starting, like you're a young musician, you're learning how to play guitar, just go. It's great information.
It's free.
And I've attended, and it's free. I've attended twice, and I plan to attend next year and the following years, because all this information, after a little while, just goes away, right? It just fades. It gets in the back of your head. You're thinking about bills. You're thinking about your dog that pooped in your front of your door. Like, you're thinking about all these things, and then you just forget. So you just get a reminder, and then every year, which is true, man. You just come home, you open the door, you step in shit, and then when you realize it, you dragged it all the way to the kitchen, like, and then you're looking at your dog, he's looking at you like, my bad, bro. Like,
Someone had a bad day.
No, that didn't happen to me, but it's happened in the past.
Okay.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Take care, man.